Hello, and welcome to Imaginary Interviews. Today, we are not just talking about history, we are talking with it. We have a rare opportunity to sit down with a mind that shaped our world. For too long, we have seen the classroom as a place of quiet reception, a sacred hall where knowledge is passed down from an authority to a passive mind. We believed that the purpose of education was simply to fill the student with facts and figures, to prepare them for a world that was already defined. We separated the mind from the hands, the thought from the action, and the school from the society it was meant to serve. But what if education is not about receiving, but about doing? What if the classroom is not a preparation for life, but life itself? Our guest today is the man who dared to imagine a school where a child's natural curiosity is the curriculum, where learning is an active process, and where the ultimate goal is not just to create smart individuals, but to cultivate a vibrant, democratic citizenry. Born in Burlington, Vermont in 1859, John Dewey was a philosopher, psychologist, and educational reformer whose influence on American education and thought is unparalleled. His intellectual journey began at the University of Vermont and Johns Hopkins University, where he was exposed to the ideas of pragmatism and idealism. He went on to become a leading figure in the philosophical movement of pragmatism, advocating for a focus on practical consequences and the importance of experience. Dewey's most profound legacy, however, is in his work on education. As a professor at the University of Chicago, he founded the Laboratory School, a revolutionary experiment where he put his progressive educational theories into practice. He argued that the traditional rote-based system of education was failing to prepare students for a rapidly changing democratic society. His ideas were radical for their time, emphasizing the need for hands-on learning, social interaction, and a curriculum that was relevant to a child's life and the world around them. Welcome to a dialogue that takes us to the heart of what it means to learn. Our conversation today is a deep exploration of the ideas in a book that has shaped educational thought for over a century, Democracy and Education. In this work, our guest argued that the two concepts are inextricably linked, that a true democracy cannot function without an education system that actively prepares its citizens to think critically, cooperate, and participate. Our discussion will delve into his call for a progressive education that is not a static institution, but a dynamic and active process that connects the school to society itself.
Mr. Dewey, thank you for joining us. Let's begin with the title of your book. What is the fundamental connection between democracy and education?
The connection is not one of convenience, but of necessity. A democratic society is more than a form of government. It is a form of associated living, of conjoint communicated experience. Education, therefore, must be the means by which we transmit and expand this way of life. It must cultivate the social intelligence and habits that are essential for democratic participation, teaching not just how to vote, but how to think for oneself and with others.
You often say that education is not preparation for life, but is life itself. What do you mean by that?
When we treat education as a mere preparation, we make it artificial and disconnected from a child's real experiences. We make it a dull, passive process. True education happens when we engage a child's interests and allow them to learn through doing, through projects, collaboration, and problem solving. The school should be a microcosm of society, where children learn by living.
This brings us to your concept of learning by doing. How is this different from the traditional memorization-based learning of your time?
Traditional education presents knowledge as a finished product, something to be absorbed. Learning by doing, or what I call the method of inquiry, treats knowledge as a tool for solving problems. It is active, not passive. It encourages a child to hypothesize, experiment, and reflect on the consequences of their actions. It cultivates intellectual independence rather than intellectual subservience.
You believe the teacher's role is not just to impart knowledge. What is the role of a teacher in your progressive model?
The teacher is not a lecturer, but a guide and a facilitator. Their role is to arrange the environment and the activities in such a way that the child's natural curiosity leads them to learn. They observe, they listen, and they provide the resources and questions that will deepen a student's exploration. The focus shifts from teaching the subject matter to teaching the child.
In your work, you also talk about the need for a curriculum that is relevant to a student's experience. Why is this so vital?
A curriculum that is divorced from a student's life is a curriculum that is easily forgotten. By connecting subjects to their daily life, to their community, and to their interests, we make learning meaningful. It allows the child to see that what they learn in school has a real purpose and a real application in the world. It is the bridge between the academic and the practical.
Your critics might argue that this model is too soft, that it lacks structure and rigor. How would you respond to that?
On the contrary, a project-based approach demands a far greater degree of rigor. The child is not just memorizing facts, they are actively working to solve a problem. This requires planning, research, and critical thinking. The structure comes not from an arbitrary schedule, but from the demands of the task itself. The rigor is in the process, not just in the content.
You were a firm believer in the importance of cooperation and social interaction in the classroom. Why?
A democratic society requires individuals who know how to cooperate, compromise, and communicate. If our schools are merely places for isolated individuals to compete, we're failing in our most basic duty. When children work together on a project, they learn to share, to listen to other perspectives, and to see themselves as part of a larger whole. They learn the habits of democracy.
So, the ultimate purpose of education is to prepare individuals not for a career, but for a democratic life.
It is not an either-or proposition. A good education will prepare an individual for a fulfilling life, which includes their vocation. But a great education, a truly democratic education, prepares them to be a constructive and thoughtful member of their society. The school is the primary instrument of social progress, and its mission is to create a more just and intelligent community.
Mr. Dewey, looking at the modern world with its rapid technological change and its deeply divided political landscape, how would you say your philosophy of learning by doing and cooperative inquiry is more relevant than ever?
I would say it is not just relevant, it is essential. In a world of endless information and deep polarization, the ability to simply memorize facts is useless. We need citizens who can think critically, who can discern truth from falsehood, and who can work with others who hold different views. An education that emphasizes cooperative problem-solving and hands-on inquiry is the only way to cultivate these skills. The survival of democracy itself depends on an engaged and thoughtful citizenry, and that is a skill that can only be learned by doing.
John Dewey's vision of education was far ahead of its time, but its core principles remain a powerful call to action. He reminds us that the classroom is not a place apart from the world, but a vibrant and active extension of it. His philosophy teaches us that true learning is a process of growth, not just reception. and that the purpose of all education is to create not just a more intelligent person, but a better citizen. By embracing his ideas, we can transform our schools into engines of democracy, where every child is empowered to think, to act, and to shape a better world. We are grateful to John Dewey for sharing his profound insights with us. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next week.